Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are undertaking a very specific deep dive.
Right.
We aren't looking at a console launch or, some massive studio acquisition. We are diving into a review of a book, The Grand Theft Auto, Vice City Stories Official Strategy Guide.
Yeah, which might sound a bit niche, maybe.
It might sound a little mundane. Yeah, bear with us because according to the analysis we've pulled, this strategy guide is less a reference book and more, well, a case study in superior information design.
Hmm.
The sources describe it as one of those rare companions that doesn't just list tasks, but genuinely enhances the entire game experience. It kind of elevates it from just a fun distraction to a masterable system.
Exactly. What we're examining here, really, for you, the learner, is the anatomy of what makes a guide, well, perfect. This isn't just nostalgia talking.
No, not at all.
It's a study in maximizing the return on investment for your time. The guide is presented as the essential shortcut, the blueprint to achieving absolute mastery, uncovering every secret, understanding every little system, and driving toward that coveted 100% completion without all the usual friction.
It sounds like the ultimate pedagogical tool for these big open world games. But okay, to start, we have to talk about its physical identity, right? Because the guide's aesthetic is like the first piece of the information architecture. This thing was designed to be desirable.
Definitely.
A presentation is described as incredibly slick. We're talking glossy, high-quality pages, just bursting with full-color, detailed maps that feel almost tactile. And crucially, the authors understood they had to capture the atmosphere. They matched the game's 1980s aesthetic perfectly with those neon highlights, stylized screenshots, and period-appropriate graphic design. It just looks right.
And that aesthetic decision, it matters more than just looking cool. In the context of learning, superior presentation really lowers the barrier to entry.
Wow.
Well, if the material looks cheap or confusing, you, the reader, you're less likely to engage deeply with it, right? This guide made the act of reading about the game almost as engaging as playing it.
That makes sense.
And moving past the visual appeal, if we connect this to the bigger picture, like dealing with complex data, the guide's structure is probably its greatest asset.
Okay.
The layout is just clean, intuitive, uses clearly defined sections, bold headings.
Easy to navigate.
Exactly. This kind of information management prevents that cognitive overload, which is like the kiss of death for any complex manual or textbook. You don't feel overwhelmed.
That structural point is huge, actually. When you're dropped into an open world like Vice City, your knowledge is purely sequential, isn't it? Like, I did mission 1, now I do mission 2.
Right, that's how you experience it initially.
But a great guide, through its structure and especially its mapping, it converts that sequential knowledge into spatial knowledge. You suddenly understand the city as a comprehensive whole, not just a series of checkpoints you hit one after another.
Exactly. The structure allows you to transition seamlessly between contexts. You might be struggling with a story mission, that's your sequential knowledge path, but you can instantly flip to the map section, find a specific weapon pickup that gives you a tactical edge that's bringing in the spatial knowledge.
Ah, okay.
This ability to switch modes, from narrative progress to system exploitation, that's what accelerates true mastery of the game.
So the slick presentation gets you open the book, the structure keeps you from getting lost in it, but let's move into the real meat of the analysis, tactical mastery. This is where the guide apparently really differentiates itself from just looking up a quick free online walkthrough.
Yeah, this is key.
The walkthrough isn't just a list of objectives, it's described as incredibly detailed, breaking down each mission step by step, but with a critical difference. It's focused on efficiency. It offers tips on how to complete missions optimally. It's about minimizing friction and maximizing your time, getting it done right.
That optimization focus is vital, especially for the efficiency-minded player. The guide understands that simply telling you what to do isn't enough.
Right.
You need to understand how to do it with maximum effect. So, for example, in a combat mission, it might tell you not only where the target is, but the optimal pathing to avoid 5 minutes of pointless firefights, or which vehicle to grab for maximum survivability against, say, rocket launchers.
That's proper tactical advice. And the sources point out that this is all delivered using a friendly conversational tone. Now, why does tone matter in an instruction manual? Shouldn't it just deliver the raw data?
Well, if we think about the guide as a teaching instrument, tone is actually everything. A conversational tone reduces the perceived complexity of the data.
Okay.
It shifts the experience from reading dry technical specifications, like you said, to receiving advice from a seasoned friend who already knows the game inside and out. It feels less prescriptive, more insightful.
Like getting tips from someone who's already beaten it.
Exactly. And crucially, this tone helps it explain why certain approaches work better than others, not just what button to press.
The why.
Right. It helps you, the player, internalize the game's underlying physics, the AI behavior, things like that. You learn to refine your own tactics because the guide is sort of showing you the cheat codes to the game's logic, not just the cheat codes to spawn money.
That's system mastery, understanding the logic behind it all. Okay, now we absolutely have to talk about what the sources define as the guide's single biggest strength, the mapping component. This is the definition of an essential tool for an open world game.
Oh, absolutely essential.
Every square inch of Vice City is meticulously charted. We're talking full coverage. Clear icons marking key locations, every hidden weapon pickup, every ramp stunt, and critically every single collectible. It's total spatial accountability.
And the practical value of this resource, especially for anyone attempting 100% completion, is just immense. Aimless exploration in an open world game causes serious cognitive drag, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it's frustrating.
You spend hours searching areas you've already covered. The guide's maps mitigate this immediately. The sources literally call it an absolute godsend because it takes the most frustrating, time-consuming parts of the game, those scavenger hunts, and transforms them into manageable, segmented tasks.
Right, breaking it down.
And think about the difference between looking up a collectibles location on some low-res map on a wiki, where you're constantly scrolling and refreshing, versus having a physical high-resolution map spread out right next to you. The physical map lets you synthesize the information spatially. You see the relation between the collectible, the nearest safe house, the optimal road to take, all simultaneously. This is information synthesis, not just simple information retrieval. It's a deeper understanding.
Right, it connects the dots immediately. But the content goes far beyond just the story missions and the hidden packages, doesn't it? This guide apparently provided a wealth of extra content necessary for true system mastery in Vice City stories.
It really did.
This includes dedicated, detailed sections on vehicles and weapons, not just where to find them, but detailed performance metrics, like how well does this car handle at speed? What's the optimal range for this assault rifle?
Yeah, the nitty-gritty.
But perhaps the most valuable addition for the true GTA player is the documentation of the emergent systems, the stuff that just kind of happens.
Absolutely. We're talking about the deep dive into the gang warfare mechanics, the whole empire building system, and the game's economy.
Okay.
These are the systems that give the game its long-term replay value, but the mechanics are often poorly explained in the game itself, if at all.
True.
The guide essentially provides the business manual for your criminal empire. It outlines specific strategies for turf wars, detailing the different types of businesses you can run, like the loan shark or the protection rackets, and their profitability.
Wow.
It documents the financial loops, potential vulnerabilities. The sources suggest that without this guide, understanding how to maximize your power and money within the city, how to efficiently, run the sausage factory, is vastly more difficult. You'd be guessing a lot.
It essentially takes these probabilistic game mechanics, like how likely a rival gang is to attack your turf, and tries to model them for you, which is information a quick online search is probably never going to provide in that much detail.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered the mechanics, the structure, the content. But what truly sets this manual apart from the rest, what the source defines as the intangible element, is the sense of passion demonstrated by the authors.
Yeah, this is where the guide kind of transcends being just a reference tool. It becomes more like a piece of shared appreciation.
How do you mean?
Well, you can just feel that the writers genuinely enjoyed the game. Their enthusiasm for the game's humor, the storyline's twists, the whole atmosphere of 1980s Vice City, it just seeps into the text.
You can tell they weren't just ticking boxes.
Precisely. This authorial voice prevents the document from becoming that dry, clinical instruction set we talked about. It encourages the reader to slow down and appreciate those elements too, rather than just treating the game as a series of chores to be completed efficiently.
Right.
It connects the mechanics,
Yeah.
the how to the mood and narrative, the why.
That appreciation is what makes it feel like a genuine companion, not just a manual. Now, for the sake of rigorous analysis, we do have to acknowledge the minor critique noted in the source material.
Sure, nothing's perfect.
The guide wasn't absolutely perfect. It sometimes failed to account for every single in-game variable. Specifically, noting minor inconsistencies between the original PSP version and the later PS2 version of the game.
Version differences?
Or moments where really extreme player choices could lead to outcomes that weren't listed. Little edge cases.
And this is actually where its honesty kind of shines through, I think. These minor inconsistencies, rather than really detracting from its success, they sort of confirm the guide's integrity. They reveal that the authors were meticulously documenting this massive, dynamic, open-world system. It's moving their target, right? And they got like 99% of it right. Ultimately, the review confirms the guide strikes a perfect balance between hard, practical advice and genuinely entertaining commentary.
So it ensures players experience the game at its fullest potential, basically.
Exactly. Discover secrets they definitely would have missed otherwise.
So what does this all mean for us? We started with a physical strategy guide from, the mid-2000s, and we've ended up with a pretty profound lesson in information delivery. This book represents a masterclass in synthesis.
Yeah, synthesis is the word.
Merging crucial mechanical information with that necessary narrative and aesthetic context. It taught us how to design documentation that doesn't just inform, but actively engages and accelerates deep understanding.
And we connect this back to you, the modern learner. The source material ends with a rather poignant reflection, I thought. This physical book is a tangible reminder of how satisfying it can be to have a meticulously crafted physical companion in an era dominated by instant, often disposable digital walkthroughs.
Right, just tabs open everywhere.
Yeah. So consider this. If having a physical guide, one that forces you to pause, internalize a map, appreciate the written context,
Yeah.
if that fosters a deeper, more enduring appreciation for the mechanical why of a subject, what does the instinct free-flowing nature of pure digital information potentially cost the modern learner when it comes to long-term memory, synthesis, and maybe even just enjoyment?
That's something to think about the next time you try to master a complex system with just a single browser tab open.
Exactly. Something to mull over.